Hi, this is Megan and Abby, and Micah Faler was the business owner we interviewed. The name of the business was Faler Lawn and Tree.
We provided landscaping, mowing, and then all sorts of tree service. So we kind of had three divisions of the company. It was commercial and residential.
Mr. Faler started with about $20,000 for a section of the business first, which was basic lawn care, to be a second income while his wife stayed at home with their kids and took time off of her job. He always wanted to start a business, so this was the perfect time to do so. He originally started the company in a partnership with his father-in-law, and they went in 50-50 until Faler felt as though he could run it on his own and took over as a sole proprietorship, only hiring his father-in-law for individual jobs.
That's a good question. I actually started initially as a partnership. The first year, when I was just in trees, I started with my wife's father, who has a lot of background on timber and things like that, logging. We started as a 50-50 partnership. And then I transferred into a sole proprietorship. I bought him out.
In a partnership, the risk would be the control factor in working with another person on an idea, and bankruptcy is a risk in any small business.
We were kind of a one-stop shop. Like, we provided all of that within the same company. That brought us a lot of customers, especially commercial, because when you're running a business and say you own an office building, you don't want to be calling your lawn guys and then calling your tree guys, and then you want just your one-stop shop.
The business started with only lawn care for individual homes, but grew to a more commercially serving full-service tree, lawn, and snow removal company. He found that being a full-service business made him more money and actually ended up saving time for businesses with less back and forth between multiple companies.
So in mowing, I could go out and get 10 residential customers, like say add 10 more, okay? Now that's 10 houses that we have to stop at a week. That's 10 individual customers. Whereas I could then go into commercial and I could get hired by a property management company, and they would give me 10 Burger King locations. And now I'm dealing with one person for 10 locations. And actually commercial pays more. You can charge more than you can residential individual.
The costs were expenses for machinery, taxes, insurance, and extends to employee wages. The intangible cost of the business is the feeling that a cut lawn or tree trimming is not doing anything to change the world. But the main benefit was witnessing the change in employees' confidence and their work habits and responsibilities. The obvious benefit would be the monetary value and more support for his family.
Honestly, there was no way I could have possibly managed all that if it wouldn't have been for the employees that I found to work for me. That was key. That's kind of the downside, I think, is just continually day after day saying I'm doing something that matters, Because, yeah, the money's good and it supports my family and everything else, but money only is so much of a reward, It's kind of like, am I doing something that really matters, The positive of that, though, is that you really can. I learned over time that you can affect people's lives, and it came more with the guys I employed, and seeing those individuals change and go from someone that really could not be responsible for anything, like hardly themselves, to, wow, they really were starting to take pride in their job, and being able to promote people like that, that's a really good feeling, is being able to take someone and say, hey, you have proved over time that you're a responsible individual, here's a promotion, here's a raise, and then watching them just kind of blossom, like, oh, someone believes in it, hugely.
Yeah.
I think probably the biggest effect of it is local and state policies, probably, and that's just going to be on like the tax rates, But I really do feel that to really boost the economy and to increase employment, decrease unemployment, it starts with small business, and I mean, it starts from the small business like mine all the way up to the small local state-run businesses, that are maybe, centered around a particular region, to, your huge national companies or international companies. You have to foster employment, and you have to give companies incentive to hire and to maintain those that they hire. And if you're increasing tax...
Micah Faler sold Faler Lawn and Tree in the summer of 2015 to spend more time with his family, which was the plan from the beginning. He ultimately grew his small partnership into a company.
My goal long term all along was to, like I said, start small and build it up to a point where then it was worth something. And while it's important to have that business and everything else, I knew I got to the point where I could cash it out and sell it. And the most important thing is that I was there at their games, that I'm coaching their games, that I'm there at my daughter's dance recital, you know. Because a 5-year-old doesn't understand when you say that, you know, hey, I can't be at any of your recitals this week because I have to go to my second job, you know. They don't understand that, you know. And I remember one of the hardest times for me was a year before I sold, well, so it was last year. I missed something of my daughter's or whatever, and it had been like 5 days or so where I would maybe see her, I'd come home, try to buzz in during lunch or something, see her, do some different things, you know. But I was never there when she woke up, and I was never there when she went to sleep. And she asked me, you know, I came home, it was like on a Friday, and I was able to get home, and I asked her, you know, she's laying there in bed, and I tucked her in, and she asked if I still lived there. So when your 5-year-old asks you, you know, do you still, you know, did you move, did you go somewhere, you know? And that's when I remember walking out of her room, and I looked at my wife, and I said, it's time to sell. It's time, you know, because they're old enough to realize, you know, hey, you're not there, but they're not old enough to understand why you're not, you know. And to me, I didn't, you know, that's not worth